Hello, hello. Happy Monday. So excited for another Monday. I I know some people might think Mondays are fucking whack, but I do not. I have a love of Mondays, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. Here is a whole nother week. I'm super feeling it from the weekend, kind of like the weekend was just yesterday, and here we are now. I'm wearing like quasi Beetlejuice shirt, if you will. I hope you guys are doing amazing. I have a fantastic topic for us to discuss today. Today, we're going to talk about my 3 favorite tips to help for working from home. And certainly in these COVID times, more and more people have had the luxury and opportunity and circumstances to allow that. Being an entrepreneur and working for myself, I've done that for years. So I have a lot to say on this topic, but I didn't want to just give you the run of the mill bullshit that is all over the place. So I wanted to share 3 things that are unique to me, that are things that are current, and you won't hear this list anywhere. I guarantee it. And you'll find out why in a second. So there's one thing in particular on this list that makes this list highly unique. So get ready, shall we? Now, how does everybody feel about working from home? Like, drop me a comment down below. Let me know. Like, have you been doing it for a long time? Is this new to you? Is it easy? Is it hard? Was it a welcome change? Like, what are your thoughts on working from home, on remote work? I know the first time for me personally to come across it, I was in high school and my dad was working for a company remotely 3 weeks out of the month. And then the 4th week, he would fly out to the corporate office and work there for a week. So he had like this little, before man caves were a thing, he had like a little cave in the basement. And the basement wasn't finished. We lived in Georgia, and having basements in the South is also like not common. So for the fact that we had one, of course it would not be finished. And the intention was to finish it, but we just never got around to it. So what they did to help keep him warm down there was buy some like industrial plastic and like hang it. So he was literally like in a bubble, a la Seinfeld. And he was in the basement and worked from home every day. He would go down and he would come back up for lunch, and then he would go down and then he would come back up, and he'd sing a little song on the way up the stairs. And I think it was Mighty Mouse is on his way. I'll stop there so that we don't get demonetized if I ever get monetized. But that's beside the point. So that was when I first got exposed to the idea of working from home. And my dad's always been in tech. He's retired now, but technology, this was back in 1999 that remote work was a thing. So this is not a new concept, but more companies are getting on the bandwagon. And with COVID, it certainly has forced the hand of those who were in resistance to it, because there are many that weren't. In fact, earlier this year, I was approached to do some work for a major brand that's based here in Massachusetts and is global, that wanted me to do some training work for them to help them roll out some software. And they wanted me in office every day. And that's not necessary. So I actually passed on it for that reason. I wanted more flexibility in my day. And this remote work is not, it's not the easiest thing for everyone, but it's doable when you have the right skills, tools, resources, systems, processes in place. So that leads me to, that's my drum roll. My 3 current tips for working remotely. So number 1, we're on a screen right now. clearly. Hi, screen. Hi. I started noticing that I would get migraines after being in front of the computer for long periods of time. And that was increasing week by week by week by week. So investing in blue light, refracting, I don't know the terms, the technical terms, I don't know. Blue light therapy glasses, that's what we're going to call them, to help minimize the light from the computer or even from like your cell phone, drastically improves my mental state. I can be on a screen from like 10 till 5:15 in a single day and not get a headache anymore with these. They look like just fashion glasses. They have a slight yellowish almost tint to them. When I put them on, I can see a difference, but there's no prescription in these because I wear contacts. And you can get the blue light filter put onto a prescription lens. So there's many ways around this. If you wear glasses, if you wear contacts, these I got on Amazon from a company called Sojos. Sojos. And I was shocked as shit about how quickly and easily my headache situation was just disappearing from utilizing those the very first day. So there's a few times, obviously, like right now I'm not wearing them, but when I'm just sitting on here doing work, yes. When I'm doing long-term trainings, yes. When I'm recording things for videos and things, I'll take them off because it's a short time period. But that is tip number 1. Get yourself some blue light filter glasses, lenses, whatever you want to call them. I'll put the link down in the description for you if you want to snag some of these. That brings me to number 2. Tip number 2. So if you've been watching my videos for a while, you might have noticed that the background has changed this year. And that's because I used to have my desk set up in my office. And the office here in my condo is a small room. It has a closet, but there's no windows. And when I first moved into this place, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to have an office. That's sweet. Yes. Because where I was living before in Florida, it was half the size of this square footage, and there was no space dedicated for an office. So I had to carve it out in part of my living room. So the idea of like having a dedicated office space was fantastic until it wasn't. Spending a lot of time in a room or in a space, in whatever circumstance, without any external stimulation, without any air moving, anything like that, is not great for your mental, emotional, spiritual, physical health. So I relocated my desk. Notice I said I relocated my desk. I didn't say my office. I moved my desk out to the living room, and I'm in the far right corner, if you will, of my living room, right in front of the sliding glass door off to the right. So I have a direct view of nature at all times. And I'm very, very lucky with this view. It's few and far between to get something like this here in the Boston area. But it's made a world of difference to just have natural sunlight, also for vitamin D, for any kind of like seasonal depression, having natural sunlight on your face for large portions of the day, being able to see animals. Like I've got bunnies out here, I've got squirrels out here. I saw a woodpecker this morning, actually, for the first time ever up here, which was super dope because I was like, that's a woodpecker, that's cool. He wasn't pecking anything though, not in like the traditional woodpeckery sense, but there's a lot of different birds, and it's just really nice to have some of that nature always accessible. So the light factor is huge. The nature access is really important, and just having more space to like spread out, to breathe, if you will. So That's number two, is like being physically in a place that is a dedicated space for certain types of work while bringing in things that are going to be supportive to you. And certainly what I said are like generals, statements, like generalities, like you want to have natural sunlight when you're working if you have that option. When my dad was working in the basement, he took a lot of smoke breaks. He never smoked, but he took a lot of smoke breaks so he could come up and like walk around and get some sunlight, because being in the basement all day, every day it's not good for you mentally. Um, no different than me being in this little 10 by 10, 8 by 8 or whatever room with no air, with no natural light. It's not good. So finding a space is the second tip, like really maximizing where it is that you're going to be working when you're working from home. Do I like the fact that I've got my big old desk in the living room? Not really. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing thing in the evenings when I'm on the couch or in a chair reading or watching something, but there's ways around that. You can get a giant room divider, which I'm looking into, to just help soften and close the door on work-related activities. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't use the office space. I'm repurposing it actually to become more of a studio space as I transition into doing more creative work, much like this. So that's tip number 2. On to number 3. And this is the big Mac Daddy that I know you're never going to hear anywhere, because it's something that I created. And it's really the most powerful thing to help me reclaim my Mondays. So here's what it is. A mullet. Now you notice I don't have business in the front, party in the back going on. I don't mean a mullet with my hair. I mean a mullet with my time. So on certain days, I have a Zoom call with a friend and colleague. And during this time period, and it can be a couple of hours, it can be a whole day. It just varies depending on the need, but you can make this work for you. So the mullet, the premise of the mullet, like the hair, is business in the front, party in the back. So think about an amount of time that you would be on a Zoom call. So the first large chunk of it would be about getting work done. And then the latter chunk of it would be about having fun and catching up with somebody. So use this time to strategically co-work with a colleague. Maybe it's somebody that you work with on a regular basis. Maybe it's a person that you haven't gotten to chat with in a long time. Maybe you want to do them with different people every week or every time that you run a mullet. It's entirely up to you. For me, I have one colleague that I love to bits that we do this regularly every week. And what it looks like for us is incorporating a couple of things. So the mullet premise is about carving out dedicated time for work and dedicated time for like wind down, fun, having a chat, like blowing off some steam. So you can break up the time however you would like. For us, one of the things that's really worked is to utilize the Pomodoro technique. And I know I've talked about this before in other places, but just as a quick refresher, it's the way of utilizing time to build in dedicated work time and dedicated breaks. And so a Pomodoro is considered that cycle. So the cycle can be, say, an hour, and 55 minutes would be dedicated to work, and then 5 minutes would be for a break. You can also do them 50 minutes and 10 minutes to make up the hour. You can do them 130 minutes, 130 minutes, God help me, an hour and 30 minutes. As soon as I said that, I was like, wait. That's not right. An hour and 30 minutes, and then break for 20 minutes. It's about a dedicated cycle of work and then break. So you'll notice a Pomodoro is kind of like a mini mullet. You could even say that a whole Pomodoro is a mullet. You take an hour and a half to work with somebody, co-working. You both put yourselves on mute. You can turn off the video camera, whatever works for you. You're both working independently. You can see each other on Zoom because that's the platform that we use. knowing that each person is working. And then after the timer goes off, you unmute, you turn on your video camera or whatever, and you check in with each other. You stretch your legs, you make jokes, you laugh, you ask how, the previous session was. Did you get everything done you want to do? What are you going to work on for the next one? That's the premise of it. So for us, we found a really great sweet spot in 3 cycles, 3 Pomodoro cycles. So we'll have one that lasts for an hour and a half, and then we'll break for 20, 30 minutes. And then we'll do a second hour and a half, and then we'll break for another 20, 30 minutes. And then we'll do a short one at the end that's 50 minutes long. And then we have a solid 40, 45 minute mullet break. So like we've got these little mini breaks in there. Depending on the time of day, you might use them to have a lunch break or a dinner break or whatever. We've used them in different ways, but at the premises, it's like schedule these chunks of time for different things as well. The hour and a half sessions are great for creative work. And the shorter sessions are great for more administrative tasks. So utilizing them very strategically based off of what you need to get done that day, planning your day, knowing that you've got this kind of built ahead, it really gives something to look forward to. You get to spend time working remotely with someone else. You feel more productive and you cross off the shit that you don't want to do because you know that it's not going to be as painful because you're there working with someone else, and you're going to have something fun to look forward to. And like we've done this on Fridays where we'd have like a glass of wine at the end during the party in the back time. So there's so much that you can do with this. So that's tip number 3, incorporating a mullet into your work week. I would love to hear which of these tips is your favorite, which one you might consider starting if you're not utilizing it already. And what is something that you found really does work for you to help you during the remote work that you might be doing? Drop that in the comments. Love to hear from each of you guys. I always respond. Hope you're taking great care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.